Hey friends, welcome back to the another video. Let's talk about 5 books that made me sad. Not exactly crying, but obviously it's near to the crying situation, I will say. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि हम बुक पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर देते हैं and after some point we realize that कि okay, कोई सिचुएशन आ जाती है, कोई पॉइंट आ जाता है या वी स्टार्ट फीलिंग फॉर द कैरेक्टर. There are so many times this situation happen. If you are a avid reader and if you love reading the fiction books, then you definitely know that at some point you are going to cry, and I cried many times in the last 2-3 years with so many books. It's just a different feeling when you cry for a character rather than for the real world. First time I realized that when I read The Fault in Our Stars, like for when the Augustus died in the chapter 21. At that moment I was completely shattered, like literally I was crying and I have no idea what to do after that. So there are the other books also that made me cry. So let's talk about those books that made me sad, to be honest. Not exactly to the point where I cried, but that books made me sad. और उसके बाद I don't know what to do. How should I pick up the next book or should I read the next chapter? If you are resonate with me, if you are connected with me, then make sure you like this video and comment down what are the books that made you cry. The first book that made me cry is by the author Khalidi Hussain, The Kite Runner. It's a great story, and at one point you will realize that you will feel for the character, you will feel for the situation, because it's more about the story about the Afghanistan. A 12-year-old boy Amir और उसका एक फ्रेंड होता है हसन. तो आमिर को एक्चुअली काइट रनर यानी कि काइट के कंपटीशन होता है वो जीतना होता है, और हसन उसका फ्रेंड उसकी हेल्प करने के लिए रेडी हो जाता है, और उसके बाद वो काइट कंपटीशन वगैरह होती है. बट इट्स नॉट दैट ईजी स्टोरी. लाइक देर इज़ अफगानिस्तान. उसके बाद हसन की लाइफ चेंज होती है या आमिर अलग जगह जाता है, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हैपन बिटवीन दिस फ्रेंडशिप. एंड वट एट वन पॉइंट यू realize the situation and you will start feeling for the characters. They share each other light, but before of the Russian and America, Amir has to force to go to the America. But Amir one point पे realize होता है कि he has to go back to the Afghanistan because उसे कुछ चीज़ें ठीक करनी होती है, कुछ चीज़ें देखनी होती हैं, and so many things. And you will definitely cry while reading this book. There is other books by the same author, The Thousand Splendid Sun. That is also a great book. That also made me sad, not exactly cry, but this book literally made me a lot of. At many points, this book made me sad, and it's a definitely good book. You should definitely pick up this book. The second book that made me sad is by the Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird. Well, it's not a story about actually the mockingbird, but if you have read this book, let me know into the comment section that what your thoughts on these two books, because these are first two books I remember reading in the college days that made me sad. उस टाइम उतने कुछ समझ में नहीं आता था. Still I'm able to resonate with the character. I'm able to resonate with the situations in this book. To be honest, this book is definitely good. If you I have second hand copy of the book, because I उस टाइम पे पैसे नहीं थे. कॉलेज में किसके पास पैसे होते हैं? I was and I cannot access too many monies for the parents, so I have to buy the second hand book, and it's great if you have the second hand book. And to be honest, this book is definitely good. It's about the lawyer's advice to a children's into the defense of the real mockingbird. It's a story about that. It's a story that plays with your psychology, and it's a story that will give you so many emotions to understand. So if you have not read this book, make sure you read this book. I remember around 70% of the books, I guess page number 110 to 150, that those are the page where I feel so many depth of the character, and I realized that this book is making me so much sad. Obviously I'm enjoying this book, but at the same time this book made me sad. Third book that made me sad is The Perk of Being a Wallflower. It's a definitely good book. If you are into the YA college days, I will must recommend to reading this book. ये basically story है चार्ली की. चार्ली को suicide thoughts वगैरह आते हैं, और उस टाइम पे समझ में नहीं आता कि एक्चुअल में क्या करना चाहिए लाइफ में, क्या होना चाहिए लाइफ में. एंड चार्ली इज़ दैट काइंड ऑफ गाय कि जिसे बहुत सारे सुसाइड थॉट्स वगैरह आते हैं. ही डोंट नो हाउ टू डील विद दैट. सो बेसिकली इस बुक में चार्ली इज़ अ वॉल फ्लावर, और उससे 2 मेंटर्स मिल जाते हैं, और 2 मेंटर्स यानी कि उसके 2 सीनियर्स होते हैं जो उसके फ्रेंड्स बन जाते हैं. एंड दे ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड हिम, दे ट्राई टू सॉल्व हिज प्रॉब्लम, दे ट्राई टू हेल्प हिम to being a wallflower, how it feels to be the wallflower. Sam and Patrick जो उसके mentor हो जाते हैं, वो उसे help करते हैं how to discover the first love, how to discover the joy of friendship, what is a friendship, what are the things you should care about, and lot of those things we usually if you are get the suicide thoughts, you are at the extreme end, and At that point he realized when you understand the joy of friendship, when you understand the joy of love, what things you can understand. So it's a very short book. I will highly recommend to reading this book because it's a very short book, and also the movie is also there, but first read the book and then go for the movie. The next book that made me sad or made me literally cry is the book Thief. It's a definitely great book. I mean, it's a story about the डिसेल वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 के आसपास की ये बुक है, और वहाँ पे बहुत सारे नाजी कॉन्सेंट्रेशन कैंप एंड वगैरह ये सारी चीज़ें उस टाइम चल रही थी. तो उस टाइम की ये स्टोरी है जहाँ पे लेसल होती है कि जो वहाँ पे आ जाती है एंड उसे सर्वाइव करना होता है इस वर्ल्ड में. एंड द स्टोरी अबाउट द रीडिंग द बुक्स, देन स्टोलिंग द बुक फ्रॉम द वन ऑफ द बिग पर्सन. उनकी लाइब्रेरी से बुक वो चोरी करती है पीछे के दरवाजे से, एंड शी स्टार्टेड रीडिंग द बुक एंड उसके लाइफ को बेसमेंट में रखा जाता है. और वहाँ पे और एक कैरेक्टर होता है. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू गेट डीप डाइव इनटू इट, बट एट पॉइंट व्हेन द वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 की सिचुएशन एंड में आ जाती है, at that time it literally made me sad. I was like, what to do, what I have to do. I mean, I was so deeply shattered with the situation, because just imagine that situation, World War II, और वहाँ पे ऊपर से बॉम्ब आ रहा है, नीचे से गोलियाँ चल रही हैं, and so many things. So I will highly recommend you to read the book Thief. The next book that made me sad is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about The Fault in Our Stars or The 5 Feet Apart, because those two books you already know that how much I love them and how much those books are favorite. But Me Before You, there is one point where you realize the characters very deeply. Like there is a Will कि जिसका एक्सीडेंट हो चुका होता है, और ही इज़ नाउ पैरालाइज, ही कांट डू एनीथिंग, ही जस्ट हैव टू sit on the chair and he don't have to do anything. He's just completely dependent on any person. And there is another character that is Louis, कि जिसको जॉब की बहुत ज़रूरत है क्योंकि उसके स्मॉल फैमिली है और विलेज में उसे जॉब की ज़रूरत है बिकॉज उसके फादर इज़ नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग एंड सो मेनी फैमिली मेम्बर्स इन द हाउस. सो शी नीडेड अ जॉब डेस्परेटली और अर्जेंटली. तो उसके बाद वो केयर टेकर बन जाती है विल के यहाँ पे. एंड द सिचुएशन बिटवीन द विल एंड लुइस, दैट विल मेड यू क्राई, दैट विल मेड यू deeply understand the characters. So I will highly recommend to pick up the Me Before You. Now there is one bonus book which I really enjoyed, or which made me cry, which is the latest book, I will say. Not latest book, but I read. The book name is The Million Miles in a Thousand Years. It's a definitely good book, which is recent book that made me around 3 times sad, because this is a story about उसकी life के बारे में story है. And it goes, he wanted to become a writer, he wanted to write a story on his life and उसके father के बारे में, उसके family के बारे में, when he start writing. And that portion, like it's around chapter 18 or chapter 20, I don't remember exactly, but when you cross around 30 to 40% of the book, then you will realize why the family is important, what are the part of the story, how you should think about your story, how you should think about your life. This book which I read last month, that literally made me sad. So if you are looking for something good book, and if you are looking for a storytelling skills, then you should definitely check out A Million Miles in 1,000 Years, which is a great book. So that's all for the today's video. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you sure, then make sure you like this video and put down the comment about your favorite book or books that made you sad. If you are looking for the more books that made you a clear thinker, then check out this video where I share the 5 books that made you a clear thinker. And if you are looking for the best non-fiction books to read, check out this video where I share the best non-fiction books. So that's all for the today's video. See you in the next one.